Conveyor Belt Estate Agency. Today I'm joined by Mike Robson, who is the other half of Avocado, and he believes that, especially with the larger firms, that estate agencies like a conveyor belt, a bit like the ones from the supermarket, very process driven, for everything split up, compartmentalized, and it's ruining estate agency. What do you mean by that, Mike? Talk to me.
Well, I think the process that most estate agents have adopted through the 90s and onwards and held on to, of having a manager, a valuer, a neg, sales progressor,
Yep.
accounts department, etc., etc. So at every point you speak to a different person, makes the journey very unenjoyable for a client, because they're not aware of what each of those, and they don't care. That's not their problem, who does what and why. Somebody wants, in my opinion, to have a relationship and enjoy and be excited about moving. It's not about selling my house. Nobody actually wants to sell their house. People want to move home.
I agree with you. You're right.
So most agents are tuned and made to sell houses like the sausage factory kind of analogy. And I don't believe that client journey in any way, shape or form was ever designed with the client in mind.
I agree with you that I think it was in the 80s where they split up the role of the valuer and the neg. I think that was a nail in the coffin of estate agency.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating that valuers don't manage their own stock. I'm very passionate about that.
You're responsible. If you've told someone £500,000, it's your responsibility and no one else's.
I find it interesting. I was talking to Ian White, who's the next Romans guy. So was Ian there with you at the time?
We just missed each other, but yeah.
And he said at Romans that the valuer actually had to book in at the time of listing
the 4-week visit.
4-week visit.
Yeah.
And you actually had to go to that property and look them in the eye. Because I haven't got a problem with overvaluing if it's ethical overvaluing. Yeah, Mrs. Miggins, we'll try it at this, but if we haven't sold after so many weeks, we're going to drop the price to this.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. But if you are dealing with someone from start to finish with one person, you have that magical word, accountability. But if you're passing it over to Floss the neg and then outsourcing sales progression, but again, the businesses are split, the jobs are split up because it's good for the business, but it's what you said, it's not good for the client.
Yes.
So you're telling me that you reckon best estate agencies where you do everything.
In my opinion, yes, I do think that it may be less profitable. You'll never get the same volume out, but you will provide a better service for someone.
Is there any element of that role that you can outsource that won't be detrimental?
From the point of view of what we do, yes, you can have your admin tasks, you can have your bookkeeping, you can have part of your marketing, your video editing, all of those things that are time.
But they're not necessarily customer touch point stuff. So
No.
you're saying that they should.
That's what you should be available for.
So that
all the time.
A lister should. You can outsource getting the valuation, but once you're there, you then manage the property. You do a company viewings if it's a company viewings. You do the sales chasing, and get it through. And you can outsource all the background stuff to enable you to free the time
to free your time up. And this comes back to a business coaching culture of saying, well, what is a high value task and what's a low value task? If you decide what your pounds per hour value is, and if it's below that, say £20 per hour, I don't work for less than £20 per hour. Well, a video editing task can be outsourced anywhere in the world now. We're in this generation where we've got this massive access to everything. I'm a big follower of Daniel Priestley, and I think we've never had better opportunities.
Yes, have you?
Ian has written a book. But I didn't get there first, unfortunately. It's too late. There is an avocado book. It's on Amazon, bestseller.
Don't give me that bestseller bollocks.
But the point for me is, if something's less than £20 an hour, well, you can that can be pushed, so you can prioritise your customer who's paying you thousands of pounds to be accessible, not really sorry, I was busy leaflet dropping.
Yeah, it's funny. I say every hour write down, have an alarm that basically goes off. And have you been doing £10 an hour jobs, £100 an hour jobs, or thousand
Yeah,
pound an hour jobs?
yeah,
The problem is we're not, it's letting go of those £10 an hour jobs. But you're
yeah,
absolutely bang on. But some
yeah.
people don't like
Write
doing
the
that.
list and put a line straight in it. What's over and what's under.
Thank you for that insight, Mike. You've been a star.
My pleasure.